Stacey Houston with 6 Degrees here, and I'm super excited to introduce you all to Jeremy Andrew Davis. We first came across his work on Instagram, and it was fire. Let's show you some of it now.
Hey Wednesday, do you think you might be autistic? Typical, you're asking the wrong question.
Can you believe this person is claiming AI is ableist?
Do you see any diversity, race, gender, age? As a non-disabled person, you are a fighter class. You can be in the thick of battle. As a disabled person, I'm a ranged player. If I get hit a couple times, I'm in trouble. I'm kinda out of the fight, but that doesn't mean I'm lazy or have less value. I'm gonna take the audio from Love on the Spectrum and match it up with James Bond.
Abby is meeting David.
So the music made James Bond feel kind of awkward. I cannot believe you used that word. With all terminology, always defer to the individual's preference on what term they prefer for themselves.
So, Jeremy Andrew Davis, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are?
I'm just the guy who makes silly videos on the internet. I know I don't look disabled, but I'm actually multi-disabled, and I use my experiences as a multi-disabled person to address issues of ableism in our society. So like with many disabled people, I'm a multimodal entrepreneur, which you kind of have to be when people won't employ you because you're disabled. And, I do want to acknowledge that I do have some privilege being a disabled entrepreneur because not every disabled person has the resources to allow them to be one. But I don't think that most people understand how many barriers there are for employment and even social acceptance for people with disabilities. I mean, look at the entertainment industry. So around 27% of the American population is disabled, according to the CDC, but disabled people make up less than 1% of the entertainment jobs. So that's one reason why I work in this industry, to break down barriers. I'm a storyteller, I'm a writer and filmmaker, and I write action adventure stories that just happen to showcase disabled heroes. I also do disability representation consulting for the entertainment and marketing industries, but most people know me from my advocacy work doing silly videos here on the internet.
There's so much there, and that's part of the reason why we wanted to work with you and have you educate our audience on disability representation and inclusion. It's pretty clear why, media disability representation is important to you, but can you tell us a little bit about why it should be important to everyone?
Yeah. So I've been disabled my whole life. I didn't realize I was disabled till I was in my mid 30s. And I probably would have realized if there had been equitable disability representation that I could see myself in growing up. So I had so much internalized ableism and shame that I rejected the idea of acknowledging, even to myself, that I was disabled for decades. Like I was bedridden for 3 years and refused to think of myself as disabled simply because how society teaches us to view disability. So yeah, if I had seen disability representation in equitable ways growing up, I could have gotten support. I could have learned to love myself for who I was and embraced my disabilities instead of like denying my reality and basically gaslighting myself. So yeah, I do this work to, one, remove the stigma. Disability is not a bad thing. It's not a bad word. If you live long enough, you will become disabled. So I strive to create a society where disabled people can thrive and disability bias has been dispelled. And I do that through stories.
That's one of the things that I connected with you on. I've shared a little bit that my mother was legally blind, and largely a lot of people thought that she wasn't disabled. It was kind of an invisible disability to many. And she also didn't really take advantage of the um, all of the things that she could have in terms of braille and additional support because of the stigma. And so I'm with you on that about dispelling that any way we can. So It's no surprise we're going to start a series with you. We are really, really, really stoked to learn more from you and share more of this world with our listeners and with our viewers, so that we can all walk away more educated, more empowered to show up in the spaces that we have privilege and we have platform to ensure that we are thinking about inclusivity every way we can. But I'd love to hear from you. What are some of the things that you hope our viewers walk away with at the end of these series?
So you know how there are like certain enlightening ideas or concepts that after you learn them, you can't ever see things the same way again.
Mhm.
Um, I'm hoping that this series is going to put some cracks in the foundation of how people view disability. And it's going to expose some of the inherent ableism that we all have, like me included, that's operating under the surface. Um, but of course, I don't want to scare anybody away. My preferred metaphorical jackhammer to crack people up is humor. So I use humor and stories because I think it helps take the sting out of unlearning these problematic things. And so I'm really thrilled to be partnering with you with 6 Degrees to give people a path forward beyond awareness and acceptance to full-on allyship.
Thank you, Jeremy. I couldn't have said it better myself. So make sure you subscribe and follow along with 6 Degrees and Jeremy Andrew Davis presents the Disability Allyship series.